what we have now, we're going to talk about the now NBA offseason that looms right around the corner. And first things first, I'd like to speak about is kind of talking a little bit about what I talked last Friday with you guys I think I released that video on Saturday. You guys with the Miami Heat, and something I talked about with Mainen last week was he was really not wanting to move off the pieces we have. My friend that I had on the show last week, he did not want to move off Tyler. Moving off Duncan, he was okay with that, but he was really held up by moving off Tyler Hero to try to go out. There's a few guards that could hit the market. We're looking at Donovan Mitchell, first and foremost. I think that's the most easiest name to plug to the Heat. You have Zach LaVine with the Bulls, who looks like he wants to move on. Bradley Beal has the opportunity to sign a $250 million deal, which is ultimately what I think he will do. But he did just come out saying that he wants to go based off winning. So kind of some mixed thoughts there for Bradley Beal. If I'm Bradley Beal, bro, take that $250 million and accept you suck on, not you, but the team sucks on the Wizards. And I mean, the Wizards don't have a bad team. They got Kristaps Porzingis. They have Kuzma. Well, no, it's because it's kind of like what the Bulls were. I'm not saying they're the finish. I'm not saying they're the finished product. I'm saying they're in a position kind of like the Bulls were last year, where like, you guys have a few pieces here. You have Levine, you have Vucevic, they add Lonzo, they add DeRozan, and we can see a team forming there. Bradley Beal is one of the best guards in the league, but there is obviously a chance he leaves. And there's a few other guys out there, names we can name, but Mainen was very held up on getting rid of Tyler Hero. As somebody, I know you're a Memphis fan first. How much would you say? What are your thoughts for the Heat? What are your feelings for the Heat?
My feelings for the Heat are they need to get a guard, one that's not afraid to attack, one that you consistently can get points from.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hero is too shaky. He's either hot or cold. You're getting 25 or 5. Which one you want? You got to pick before the game starts. You're like, Tyler, how much we getting tonight? I don't know. I'll probably give you 10.
He's too busy cheating on his girlfriend.
That too.
Crazy.
He got a lot of stuff he's dealing with. Right
you got PK cheating on Shakira, which is, how are you going to cheat on Shakira, bro? That's like,
he had problems.
That's you. You're winning. If you got Shakira, bro, you've won. PK, you cheat on Shakira, like what? And then you got Tyler cheating on his IG girlfriend that he's already got a kid with. Like, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, Tyler, inconsistency is 100% right with Tyler.
But there's hope. As we stated, you guys could look into some free agents in the offseason. Maybe one that's good friends with Dwayne Wade. What's his name again? Donovan Mitchell.
Well, he's not. I don't think he's a free agent. I don't think we could just pick him off of the streets. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell, he is the easiest tie you can make to this Heat team. Yeah. Obviously, the Dwayne Wade connection. I mean, Dwayne Wade's first commitment is to the Utah Jazz, though, as an owner. But it would be very easy then to try to make a deal with them because you have friendly relations. He wants obviously the best for Utah, I would hope, as Utah's minority owner. But you have a door open there. Yeah. And then Jazz getting rid of Quinn Snyder or mutually deciding to part ways with Quinn Snyder. We saw that Donovan Mitchell felt unsettled. He doesn't know where this organization is going. Obviously, we all know the butting of heads him and Rudy Gobert have had.
Near him type of thing.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert shouldn't be the one to even have that type of
thing. No. He didn't deserve his. This man scammed the NBA with Defensive Player of the Year awards.
After crying about it.
Oh my gosh, he's not even.
Was at the All-Star? He cried about it.
Man, I don't know. He's not that good. He's not that good.
And then the call out about Shaq, something like that. No.
He's not that good. He blocked. Hey, you've got a ridiculously long wingspan. I hope you're blocking shots.
Should be.
I hope you're blocking shots, and he does. That's the one thing he provides. It's like kind of like Hassan Whiteside, man. Which is fun to see. It's fun to see. And who knows, maybe when I see Donovan Mitchell slamming on him, because one of them's going to go.
Yeah, one of them.
There's rumors tying, honestly, both could go. I could realistically see both. There's rumors tying Rudy Gobert to the Raptors. I think that's actually a good idea for Rudy Gobert to go to a team like the Raptors, who are in playoff contention. Don't really have a big. They had Valanciunas. They had Marc Gasol. with the championship. Had Gasol move Valanciunas to Memphis to get him. Don't really have a big, and they're kind of in a weird middle spot where they're not bad enough to get a pick, but they're not good enough to progress in the playoffs. We saw what happened against Philly. So that makes a lot of sense for them. But for the Heat, I think you gotta make a move. We got the number 1 seed, which is great. It's all great. We played great in the regular season, but we saw multiple times in the playoffs the Heat scored under 90 points twice in the Eastern Conference Finals. Outside of Jimmy, really no consistent scorers. And all this can be seen as a positive because all these things are true, and we still got to Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler misses a wide open 3.
The NBA Finals with this team, and that's crazy.
Yeah. All that being said, you're still on the doorstep of potentially getting another championship for this team. Could have made second NBA Finals in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible. But I think it is time to get another star.
Like Embiid said, they're 1 star away. Just 1.
Hey, Joel?
No, that's not.
No, it's not happening.
Joel's not coming, but
yeah,
they're 1 star away for sure. Just 1. I'm not even superstar. You could be a star. You know what I mean? Just 1 of those. Like you said, Jimmy Butler needs his tandem, his scoring tandem. Like if I'm having a bad shooting night, I can only give 15. Can you give 20? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He needs somebody like that on the team.
Tyler did do that this year. He averaged 20.
He did, but when it comes to consistency and getting into the playoffs, stretching it onto that realm, you can't disappear. If you're looked at as that guy for the team, you can't disappear. You have to be there all year long.
My biggest concern for Tyler in his playoffs, and maybe we can chalk up Tyler's poor postseason run to something was going on at home. Because when I forget his girl's name, but when she posted those,
she was going off on social media.
That wasn't
inspirational.
Yeah, that wasn't the beginning. That was just the tip of the iceberg. Because you don't find out day of and be like, oh my gosh. No, you have some bickering back and forth. You have some talk. You have to figure out
no sleeping.
Is this real? So I'm sure that was just the tip of the iceberg that we saw on social media. She unfollowed him on Instagram. So I'm sure he had a tough home life going on. He's got a kid he's raising, which again, he's my age. He's got a kid. He's got a girl. He's in a great situation where he's playing for a great team. Got a beautiful girl, but he's also now created this mess for himself. And I like to think that part of his bad playoff run was due to that. But no matter how you chalk it up, the most important part of the game is the close, the end of the game. When it's 5-point gap between the two teams, who's on the court for you? Here was not on the court. Strus was in his place. Strus is a better defender. He's not being able to create a shot like Tyler can, but to the Heat, he was seen as better to be on the court, better fit to be on the court. And that is what's more concerning for me with Tyler Hero, is that he was taken out of the closing lineup in the playoffs when it's most important. That is what's most concerning for me.
And I feel like you said, all that stuff at home, apart with that, being taken off the court like that, getting a guy like, who was that stepped up for him? Max Strus?
Strus, yeah.
Strus was all right.
Strus was all right.
That's why the Heat shouldn't have a problem doing that little package deal, getting a star over there for maybe Hero, pair that up with like Duncan or something. Would you let go of Duncan with at the same time?
100%. I think Duncan's got to go no matter what. Dang. He can't play defense. Like we compared Duncan or Tyler Hero to Cone. If Tyler Hero's a cone, Duncan Robinson's this cup.
He's a rock.
You're cones. You at least have to go around.
Yeah.
You at least have to go around a cone.
Step over the cup.
You can step over the cup. Duncan Robinson is he 200 pounds? Is he 200, 205, 210 pounds?
Duncan Robinson's 215.
Whatever he is.
6'7" though.
Yeah, but he is the worst. He's the worst defender on the team.
I didn't know he was pushing 30 either. I didn't know that about Duncan.
He's pushing 30?
He's 28 years old.
I didn't know that either. He looks about 10.
He's 28 years old.
He's got like one singular hair on his chin.
Duncan's old. And like you said, the cup, a liability on defense.
And Max Strus does what he does. But Strus, he's got some athleticism that he's throwing it down a little bit.
I didn't know he could hoop.
Man, game 7, he tried to throw it down on Horford. Man.
No, I didn't approve of that. But
I mean,
he's nice.
If Duncan tried to throw it down on Horford, he might tweak his ankle before even going up. Like, he's just so unathletic. He's so unathletic.
You gotta get to the paint first. I don't think he's getting there.
Yeah.
Nobody's letting Duncan Robinson drive past.
No, he's dribbling off his foot or something. I mean, he's deadly. If you set him 17,000 screens, like, hey, he's just gonna keep like, if you give him just a little bit of space, he'll hit a 3-pointer on you. That's it though.
No, that's it. No, that's all you're getting.
And we're making $18 million, averaging almost $18.5 million over the extent of his contract, which he just signed. So you're stuck with him till I didn't even know he was that old, till he's 32, 33 years old. 32. I'm moving on. I'm for one way or another, regardless whether you move on from Hero, I'm finding a way to dump Duncan's contract. Like, hey, Sacramento, somebody, you want this dude? Because we got somebody who can do the same thing he does, can play a little bit of defense. Strus is not a bad defender. He's not a great defender. He's not a bad defender. He's athletic. His athleticism kind of makes him a better defender. He's about equal level of a natural defender as Duncan, but he can move side to side a lot easier. Yeah, he's not a cup.
He can get lateral.
Yeah.
But shooting, I'd give you the edge to Duncan in shooting.
No, of course.
You can sacrifice that because we're getting some defense.
Yeah. And Strus is, I mean, he's still a very good shooter.
Yeah, for sure. What about Gabe?
Gabe's just a workaholic. Okay. He works. He's a hard worker. Like, he was trusted in the early parts of the playoffs over Victor Oladipo. And I love Victor Oladipo. I would do a lot to try to keep Victor Oladipo this year. If he can heal up, he plays good defense. He can create a shot. He can drive into the paint. Good attitude. I saw he was on, I think it was the Pivot, talking about his injury history, talking about everything. He's got a really good head on his shoulders, and I love listening to him speak on that episode because it really opened. He's not somebody who you've really heard a lot from in his NBA career. Right. So he's somebody that I would love to keep on this Heat team. So he's people that I would love to see on the Heat no matter what next year are Jimmy, Victor, Max Strus. I want to see Victor back because he's a good defender. He was an all NBA defender at one point. And he can hit shots. He can create shots. Him and Tyler Hero, he's like a bouncier Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero can shoot a little better, but Victor's got that bounce. That Tyler can throw it down, but like, he's not bouncy. Right. So I'm definitely keeping Jimmy. The guy's a non-negotiable. Jimmy's the only one that's like non-negotiable. You can make everything work, but like, if you can keep Jimmy, Victor, Bam, and he's gonna be there. He's gonna be there by the time I'm 40. If you have a starting lineup that includes Jimmy, Strus, Victor / PJ Tucker. I want to keep PJ Tucker too. Yeah. Bam Adebayo, and then you go out and get another star. If you tell me the trade package for, let's call Donovan Mitchell, 2 firsts, Tyler and Duncan, I'm doing that.
Would you give me one for Brad? Say Bradley Beal was on the table. Who would you?
Bradley Beal I'd give up more.
Like 2 firsts. They're getting Victor, and
I think Victor's a free agent. So unless it was a sign and trade. Oh, okay. Kyle Lowry, if they want him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kyle doesn't have a lot of trade value.
Getting somebody like Bradley Beal would be
good
for this Heat team.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
It'd be good.
It'd be fantastic.
I'd watch some games.
You go to some games probably. They were already number 1 seed. If I'm the Heat, I'm going out and getting one of those names. If you can, just another guard, you need a guard play.
They have to.
Jimmy is not going to be a shooter.
John Wall.
No, I don't want John Wall. John Wall is.
John Wall hurt himself in his house. I almost forgot about that. Remember?
That's what happened.
He was in his house, and he was. I don't know what he was doing in his home.
Was he on a trampoline or something?
I don't know if he was like Euro stepping into the kitchen or something, but
because that's what we do as hoopers. Like, if you play basketball, out of nowhere, you just
he's like when you walk through it. No, I think he actually hurt himself at his home.
Tore his Achilles.
At his house. Yeah.
Pump faking nothing. I don't remember what it was. No, I'm not saying I don't want John Wall. Like, I remember I wanted Russ a couple years ago when he hit the market. Not because I am number one. I've been number 1 Russ hater. Yeah. It really spawned off people trying to say he's better than Steph.
I never thought that.
I never thought that either, but a lot of people did. A lot of people Coral Glades basketball gym class. Coral Glades weight room where nobody actually lift weights. We all just basketball or whatever. It was me against the crowd in terms of Curry's better than Russ.
What year was this, though?
2017, 2016.
It's debatable, man. That's why.
It was, but to me, it wasn't. Curry.
It was, though.
It was.
No, it's not.
No. Oh, no, of course not.
Okay, long-term, entire career, it's not. That year, it was. That's it. That's the only time I probably would have jumped in on the other side.
Yeah, but no, I was statistics. I've been a Curry dude. I love Curry since, like I said, 2012 is really when I got on the bandwagon with Steph Curry. I don't even want to call it bandwagon because then it wasn't. They were like making the playoffs as like a 6 seed.
2013, I was like, okay,
bro, it was nice.
2013, I was okay.
I started pounding the table for him, like, bro, you can't tell me Russ is better. Curry's more efficient. He can shoot. This is a shooter's league now. Russ has no rings.
And it was the fact that Curry would get hurt so much. He had the bad ankles and things of that nature.
He did, but he was still winning on top of that. And a lot of it was due to the team around him, like everything the Warriors have going on. The Warriors are like, if you want to compare them to an NFL team, they're kind of like a better version of the Ravens. I think they have an identity. Mm-hmm. Ravens running the ball as a team, quarterback, running back system. Mm-hmm. Warriors going to shoot, play defense. Well, we will see. We will see. And then top to bottom, I'm talking ownership all the way down to head coach and quarterback. They got everything going on. Yeah. Warriors, ownership, great ownership group, great GM, Steve Kerr, good coach. And then you have unselfish superstars. You have Steph, Clay, Dre. Dre obviously is more vocal, but I mean, and he butted heads with KD a little bit, but how many superstars throughout NBA history be like, oh, let me go ask somebody who's better than me to join the team? Kevin Durant being. Right. Kevin Durant, my opinion, is like the 5th or 6th best player of all time. And Steph was like, yeah, I'll shoot less shots. I'll play less minutes. Bro, I want another ring. I want to win. Exactly. How many teams are going to do that? Not many. Yeah.
They knew they wanted to win. The Warriors haven't been an individual team. They don't have individual minded players.
Yeah. And that's what's made them so much great. And that's what made Curry so great, is because he was able to keep his ego inside of him, or lack of ego. Right. And now has one of the best teams of all time, historic. He's the best shooter of all time. He did it like half the shots that Ray Allen did before him.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. And they were lucky to get him. And well, we just talked about the Heat, so let's pivot to another player that has been kind of talking about the Warriors a little more than maybe somebody under contract should. The GM goes on the podcast he regularly is on, and they gave him it was a yes, this or that question, like which of these two teams would you rather play for, and he said the Warriors. But this is not the first time he's talked about the Warriors in a sense of, oh, I would like to play for them.
He said he wants to join Steph numerous times. He's like, I want to play with Steph before I retire, things like that.
And that would be it'd be probably his last team he joined before joining Bronny. Yeah. If Bronny makes the league, whatever team Bronny goes to, he'd have that available to him. But this...
Bronny goes to the G League, LeBron's going.
He's like, yeah, the Sioux Falls Heat, what are they called? Yeah, I'm with it.
The Swahili what's?
Yeah.
I'm going.
LeBron, this Lakers team is a mess. Mm-hmm. And part of that is LeBron's fault, which Magic Johnson alluded to. They could have had Buddy Hield.
That would have been
crazy.
Those are the type of players LeBron likes, because he's going to orchestrate. He's going to make you bite and throw it to the corner.
But he went for the aging stars. First he went with his boy Carmelo, yeah. Which you can't blame Carmelo. He is what he is now in his career.
God, this team is so old.
Anthony Davis is held together by shoestrings and glue.
Yeah, the glass.
Russell Westbrook just had outside of his rookie year, the worst statistic season of his career. Kendrick Nunn didn't play all of 10 minutes. Got hurt beginning of the year. Our boy did nothing for him. Yeah. A whole lot of nothing outside of LeBron. LeBron got hurt for a little bit. Outside of LeBron, it was a whole lot of nothing.
And that's the thing. That's why they got Westbrook for things like that. When LeBron went down, they got little to no production from Westbrook. How many games did they win in that stretch?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but
barely any.
They fell to out of playoff contention. Well, they fell to the tournament, and then LeBron came back, and then they fell out.
Yeah.
And there's no real escape for the Lakers. Anthony Davis is still there. I'm sure you can find a way to trade Anthony Davis if a team was willing to. I'm sure a team would be willing to take him, but what are you getting in return for his current value? Not much. Russell Westbrook. What are you getting back in return if you move off Russell Westbrook?
This next season is important. That's when we'll find out the questions to that.
I think it's already been answered. With Russell Westbrook, I think it's already been answered because he has declined every year. I mean, it makes sense. He declined every year since the triple-double year. But those last few years, what we've seen from him has been really poor.
Yeah.
And he's under contract with the team. He has a player option. You tell me he's going to turn down a player option for $40+ million on the Lakers? No, he's going to stay. He's there to stay for another year at least, unless they can find a trade partner, which I find very unlikely. So the Lakers are in a terrible situation. Why would LeBron want to stay, other than the fact that it's LA?
Yeah, and stay with this team that he's built up, and just to leave that's not a good look for you in general. But I also believe that he actually likes this team. LeBron does, believe it or not.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he likes it. He likes it because he put it together. He knows what he did. He's not going to stay here, but he's at least, this next season is going to show us a lot about the Lakers. Because it's going to be this team right here. It's going to be all these people.
So you don't think the possibility of LeBron moving on for the Warriors is
not this season, though. He's going to come back to LA.
The Warriors could put together a package. You have Jordan Poole, you have James Wiseman, you have young pieces. You have Kuminga, you have Gary Payton, you have Andrew Wiggins.
Big package.
But there is a package.
It's gonna have to be a big package.
It's a package nonetheless that is doable.
It is, but
if you say we're not moving Clay, Steph, I mean you could move Clay based on how he's playing, but let's say you keep those three. Look at the Warriors team when they had Kevin Durant. Name me one of their bench players. It was terrible.
Ooh, whoa, wait. I just had a complete blank when you said that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Kevon Looney was coming off the bench most of the time for them, but it was terrible. Who cared? Who cares?
I didn't. I was like, well, they're winning the final.
They're playing 7 dudes, which what did lead to injuries, in my opinion. That they were playing so much of that 7-man lineup that it led to injuries in the long run, especially making 5 straight finals, but 3 straight with Kevin Durant. That eventually he's got hurt, and that Raptors team was healthy. Kawhi Leonard. But if you add LeBron to that team, screw the bench.
Yeah.
Screw those picks. F them picks.
You don't need a bench. If that's your team, you don't need it.
And let's say the Warriors lose. It'd be a lot easier to justify this if they lose. It's like when Kevin Durant went. Kevin Durant justified it in his own head. Like, look, they just lost. I'm not joining a championship team. I'm joining a team where I'm the last piece.
I mean, they were still what?
Yeah. 72. You're the last piece of a 72-9 team. Yeah. That'd be crazy. We added games just so we can see this team play more. That's how
he still did join a team that had it together. I'm not buying the fact that
no. But I'm telling you, that's how he justified it to himself. And I think he's even admitted that is how he justified that to himself.
That's what he says normally when asked about it. He's like, we just lost.
And if LeBron sees this Warriors team lose, and they're like, look, this is something that I could add to my
KD. What if LeBron pulls a KD?
I'm all for it. You're taking historically two of my favorite players of all time and joining forces. He's talked about Curry a lot throughout his career. I don't think that's true. But Curry, we saw what he did with Kevin Durant. He's about winning. Mm-hmm. If you can bring in LeBron, he'll sacrifice the points. He'll sacrifice the shots.
You don't remember what Curry said? He was like, "No, I don't see that happening."
Yeah,
but he doesn't want to. He's like, "I'm about to join LeBron." He blocked my shot in the finals and then looked at me.
You really think Curry has that much of an ego?
He has resentment.
I don't think he has resentment to that level. I think if you put the picture together of getting more rings, which is ultimately what it's about.
It'd be about 3 or more.
If he finishes, I already think he's the best point guard of all time. But so Magic has 5, Curry has 3. If they win this year before, but let's say they lose, and you bring in LeBron. If you have LeBron for
LeBron's 37,
if you have him for 2 or 3 years, you're equaling or potentially equaling or bettering Magic.
Yeah, and then LeBron will have his 6, right? Yeah, his 6.
So that helps me with a lot of arguments. That helps me because I'm
what LeBron's trying to do. That's why he keeps on throwing it out there. He's trying to I think he's trying to repair his legacy at this point. At this age,
his GM legacy hasn't gone too well.
No, it's not terrible.
I mean, it went well. It went well with the Cavs when
that year.
That one year it went well with the Cavs.
What he put together.
This year didn't go well, and this it is partially a fault. I mean, at the end of the day, he isn't the final decision maker, but it's LeBron James. You're going to include him in a second.
The Dwight Howard thing, I think he realized letting him go was a mistake. That last season after they won the finals, he knew that was a mistake. That's why they
need to get a little younger, which is something the Lakers team, even if it would require them moving off of LeBron, the Lakers team, because Lakers are in a position, if LeBron leaves tomorrow and you don't get anything back, they're in a terrible spot. Yeah. But if you can go and restart and say, look, this team isn't winning a championship next year. If LeBron wants to leave, you go get a huge haul of young assets from the Warriors and rebuild like that. You could turn into a Pelicans-like rebuild, and you still have the attraction of LA that you can go out and try to get a Bradley Beal or a Zach LaVine or somebody else through trade.
Right.
You could flip some of the assets you got for LeBron, still keep like a Jordan Poole or an Andrew Wiggins, trade some of those assets plus your own assets to go get one of those other guards. I think it's very doable to try to move off LeBron and still end up in a good position if you're the Lakers. And I think it helps LeBron, obviously, for his legacy to try to go get more rings with the Warriors. I'm not saying it's going to happen. We've talked for about 10 minutes about this. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's something that would very intrigue me, and I think it's possible.
It is. I agree.
And it's all possibility he returns home. So Miami, this home is what I'm referring to, our home. Him and him and another player that I'll bring up very quickly while on the subject of Miami is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant with this Nets team, he can't be happy with how the season's gone. Steve Nash is a figurehead of a coach. He's not. I couldn't tell you what Steve Nash does as a coach. I don't think Steve Nash could tell you what Steve Nash does as a coach. He's just there because they
hire an ex-player at this point.
Ex-NBA player, point guard. Okay, that's probably going to work.
Hall of Famer. All right, bet.
Probably going to work. Knows what's going on. Yeah, Jason Kidd finally found something to work with the Mavs, but a lot of people don't know is Steve Nash 2 jobs ago was a soccer analyst.
Yeah, he was definitely fun. He was in the booth.
He wasn't, but not even in the same sport. No. He was doing the Champions League for TNT. And then he went into the business world for a little bit. And then they just plucked him out of that and said, here, be an NBA coach. Do you have any head coaching experience? No? Okay, here, perfect.
Do you know how to call plays?
Not really, no. I mean, I'm a point guard, but that's about it.
Ah, cool. So you used to run the plays.
And then there are 2 superstars. Well, they're talk about Kyrie first. Kyrie is Kyrie Irving. He's a little bit of a head case. Very talented. One of the most talented players in the league. Is a bit of a head case. Kevin Durant chose Kyrie over Steph, Clay, Dre, Steve Kerr. He chose that situation in Brooklyn. He's got to be looking himself in the mirror now like, what did I do?
If anything, Kyrie let everybody on that Brooklyn team down. Kyrie did that. Because they saw what it was like to play without him, and they saw how he cared about it and how he handled the situation. Kyrie is the reason James Harden left. You can't convince me otherwise. And Kyrie is going to be the reason that KD leaves, and you can't convince me otherwise. That's it.
I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. Yeah. I'm not going to try.
It's him. He's the problem.
He's one of the problems, but he is arguably the main problem.
Yeah, he's the problem in Brooklyn. Okay, yeah, one of them.
One of lack of a coach,
the coach
lack of a bench, lack of a defense. Yeah. Ben Simmons hasn't even played a game. He's already a problem for the Nets. And he actually, if he's on the court, he could solve some issues.
He could.
Having a actual point guard, because Kyrie is more scorer like Steph. Steph passes a little more than Kyrie, but by no means is Kyrie a bad passer or afraid to pass. But Ben Simmons, we know he isn't afraid to pass. He's 6'10". He plays pretty decent defense, rebounding. So he provides something if his head is locked into the right position, which it really hasn't ever been. But he's made it work at times, and he's been an all-star, and we thought he was like, one of the next stars in the league.
He's been an all-star without any improvement.
he hasn't improved since Montverde.
No improvement whatsoever. He hasn't developed a shot. If you ask me, I don't think he's good from the line either. His numbers got better.
Are you talking free throw line?
Yeah.
Oh no,
they got better because they were terrible.
I still think he's shooting with the wrong hand.
Bad. They're still bad. Doesn't he shoot with the wrong
hand? I think he shoots with the wrong hand. If you look at him finishing at the rim, he shoots with his right. He shoots with his left. The stat was like 60
in the gym right now shooting.
It's like so obviously like two hand dunks, but if you're talking left to right, it's more finishing with his right.
Yeah.
Tristan Thompson handed him a football. Just throw this, Tristan, see what happens. He was originally shooting with his left hand, threw the football like 5-10 yards with his left hand. Right hand threw like 20-30 yards. They're like, let's try to fix that. but here's the thing. Tristan is he's cheated on about every girl he's ever had. So like he's a little bit on head case himself, but Ben Simmons is such a special head case that like if you even offer that to him, that's like in a line of lists of things you need to fix Ben Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to fix his jump shot.
Is at the top.
It is.
Is at the top.
Well, at the top is his head.
Okay, yeah. Is his mindset going into things, which would in turn go into right, let's fix my jump shot. Let's put
there's just a bucket of things that Ben needs to fix.
I don't know what he's doing right now. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't think Ben knows what he's doing right now.
No, I mean like in life.
Yeah.
If he's not in the gym right now,
he's probably streaming Warzone.
I don't know.
He's probably streaming Warzone, to be honest.
That's the problem.
And bro, Kevin Durant has to go. You tell me Kevin Durant's gonna walk back to this team next year, like, all right, I guess.
I don't know.
He's under contract, he's making a lot of money, but the Heat can put together a package. It would include a lot of picks. Mm-hmm. It would include Tyler Hero. I would trade for Kevin Durant definitely for Kevin Durant, I would trade Bam. I would trade Bam.
Yeah, that's all you got.
I'd put for Kevin Durant, for LeBron, I don't know if I would, which is crazy to say out loud. I think I might. Kevin Durant definitely would because a little bit younger. For Kevin Durant, I'd give up Bam, Tyler, Duncan. I'd give up everybody except Jimmy. Okay. Take who you want. For LeBron, you're probably looking at a similar package to Donovan Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Tyler, Duncan, 2 firsts. Yeah. Probably similar package because of his age. You're probably going to have him for 3 years. Kevin Durant, you could have for 6 or 7 years. 5 or 6 years.
4 or 5.
5 we'll settle on 5. I don't know off the top of my head. 34?
I know he's younger.
He's gotten injured a bit. But he's still
the Achilles ruptured.
I'm willing to call him the 5th best player of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
Best scorer of all time. Like my top 5, I mean, Bron, Jordan, probably Kareem, and then probably Kobe, and then I'll probably go KD. Okay. But you're talking with number 5. You're talking KD.
What are we talking about? You talking about like scoring ability?
I'm talking about just general all time. Player? Yeah. Okay. But like everybody in that top 5 has something that makes them so great. Mm-hmm. And all of them actually has multiple things that makes them so great.
Most of the main from that list you just, I think, who you list again?
LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, Kobe, KD.
Okay, killer scoring ability. That's one of the ones all those people have. So I can't disagree.
I say KD's the best of the bunch. In terms of just scoring, KD's the best of the bunch. KD's the best scorer of all time.
All right.
And what he can do night in, night out.
It's the different ways he can do it to you.
Like LeBron's he's probably never going to pass. Like LeBron's going to finish as the top point scorer of all time.
Yeah, he's going to get that.
LeBron also came in as a high school player.
He had a few extra
years on and he came out scoring like a more amount of points sooner. So KD's probably never going to be like the top player of all time in terms of points. Yeah. But he can get to 2 or 3. And he still has that. If you add that to this Heat team,
KD,
we've tried to get him multiple times now.
This year?
No, I'm saying in general. When he decided the Warriors, we had an interview with him. When he decided the Nets, we were interested with him. I don't know if we ever had an interview. I know we had an interview with the Warriors that year. I don't think we ever had an interview when he signed and trade. Actually, people kind of forget that was a sign and trade when he went to the Nets. But the Heat have always been interested, and for good reason. Best scorer of all time, one of the best scorers currently in the league, if not still the best scorer in the league. You add him, you add LeBron, if you go lower than that, you got a Donovan Mitchell, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine. I think it is so incredibly necessary for this Heat team to add some sort of star that can create a shot more than Jimmy Butler can. Okay. And if you do that, that's a championship winning. We already have a potential championship winning team.
Championship team right now. That's the thing.
But if we give up those assets I listed and go get a star, we're in a better place, even better place.
Look what you got without him. Look what you got. You got Udonis Haslam on your team. Come on, man.
I love the video that just resurfaced of Tyler throwing UD that lob. Like, Tyler needs to go to prison for that.
Dude, no, you know who needs to go to prison is UD himself. Because at the end of that loss, he was walking to the locker room. He was sick. He had his hand on his head. I was like, UD, you acting like you played 35 minutes.
I mean, because I understand. Yeah,
you've been there a long time. You saw the boys get so close to the young people.
Yeah, and it would have been the ring still counts.
Yeah,
he's still another one to his locker. He already has three.
Yeah, he won that one in 06.
Like his legacy for the Heat.
06.
His legacy is obviously already cemented with the Heat. His 40 is gonna be top of the stadium one day, undoubtedly. But you still
like, who was that?
You still want another one. You still undrafted out of Florida, still here, been in the league longer than LeBron. Is he the longest? He's the current longest active player in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anybody else who would be. Everybody that was born or drafted in the 90s is gone.
Vince retired, right?
Vince was, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's UD now.
Oh man. So this is off subject from what we're talking about, but Vince, while Vince was still playing, I wanted him to keep going. But now I wish he retired earlier because I feel like now he's kind of remembered as that guy who moved from team to team at the end instead of, it kind of make this conversation a little darker. It kind of like what Chadwick Boseman and what's that comedian's name? I feel so bad. What they chose to do when they found out they had cancer. They didn't want to tell anybody because unfortunately when people get sick like that, you end up remembering them being sick.
Mm-hmm.
Chadwick Boseman said, "I'm not letting anybody else know." And when we all found out he died, it was a shock to the world. Yeah, and so we remember him as this incredible actor that he was instead of him being sick.
Mm-hmm.
To bring it back more to a lighter side, Vince Carter, instead of remembering him for
Duncan, he got every NBA jersey in his closet.
That's what, unfortunately, especially a younger generation, that's what they're more going to remember him for. Oh, he was on the Mavs. Oh, he was on the Hawks. Oh, he was on this team. Everywhere except Miami, really.
I'm about to say everywhere except the right places.
Everywhere. Oh, yeah. Everywhere but the right places.
Didn't get him a ring, just cardio, running and jumping.
Yeah. I was a big Vince fan. His jersey was the first basketball jersey I spent my own money on.
That's one?
No. It was a Raptors one. It wasn't while he wasn't on the Raptors. But I just love that jersey with the Raptor on it.
The cool design one.
The purple. Yeah, I have the purple one. Yeah, it was fake. I'll be completely real with you. It was fake. Hey, fake NBA jerseys are the move. All right.
Hey, jersey's a jersey.
$40, and you cannot tell the difference.
No,
and
really
I bought that thing in 7th grade. So what, 2013. And I don't wear it anymore because it got a little faded. But it didn't fade any differently than a regular jersey would.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I have it hanging up in my room now. And just the Raptor started to fade a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't fall apart. I spent $30 on it versus $130 that would have went if I went to Champs. Probably because inflation, probably be like $200 right now.
Oh, yeah. Jerseys are.
Oh yeah, ridiculous. Bro, I'm telling y'all, if y'all watching this, if you can get an NBA jersey for fake, now obviously like different sellers are gonna be better than others, but I've had a lot of good experiences with buying fake NBA jerseys. So, but bring it back on to what we were talking about before, I think there's a lot of there's some stars that could move in the NBA this offseason, and the Heat have to pursue somebody.
Yeah.
Any of those names, if the Heat, any of those names, Bradley Beal, LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, or obviously Bron, KD, any of those names, if they're in a Heat jersey next year, I think we're in a much better opportunity to win the NBA championship.
You guys are gonna go to the finals, I'll tell you that.
I hope so. I really hope so. And it is a strong possibility if they bring in any of those guys to move on to an NBA championship.